17 passed. West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, you know by now, plans to vote no if that Build Back Better bill comes to the floor. Getting a lot of reaction from liberal media. Some commentators going so far as to predict that it may end our democracy. Joe Concha, media comments for The Hill, Fox News contributor. How you doing, Joe? Good day to you. I can understand the measure of disappointment by some, but some of this reaction is over the mountain. How do you see it? How do you scan that reaction, Joe? Go.
The whole democracy died today because of Joe Manchin thing is the kind of hyperbole, Bill, that we're used to hearing in other channels and on social media. It's like attaching the words racist and racism to everything. You say something over and over again, and it tends to lose its impact, right? So now the plan is to portray Manchin as the worst person this planet has seen since Mao, all while declaring democracy is dead. Some fun tweets this morning to share. Sam Stein, he's the White House editor for Politico. He says that the Manchin news, quote, is just objectively devastating for the planet, unquote. Washington Post conservative, it's funny to say that, Jennifer Rubin, headline, quote, Manchin deals a devastating blow to Biden and democracy, unquote. Look, here are the basic numbers, okay, the math. And Josh mentioned before the emotion that's involved here. So let's just remove all the noise. Democrats need 50 votes in the Senate to pass this bill. Kamala Harris serves as a tiebreaker. They have 48. End of story. The math also extends to inflation. You talked about it before. The CBO says Build Back Better will add what, $3 trillion to the deficit? And most sane economists say that it will make inflation currently at what, a 40-year high, even worse. So maybe, just maybe, those covering this story might want to explore that angle a little bit more in its coverage. Finally, more hard numbers, and I'll leave it here. Joe Biden is currently polling at 65% disapproval in West Virginia. That's the state that Manchin represents. 3/4 of people living in that state oppose the Build Back Better bill. Add it all up, and Manchin is simply using common sense here, Bill.
Okay, you mentioned Jennifer Rubin, Washington Post. Here's her tweet. If Manchin is no on both BBB and voting, Biden is done. Democracy is hanging by a thread. Hard to think of anyone more destructive. I guess you could also argue that democracy worked, Joe. Here is AOC on Morning Joe, MSNBC, a few hours earlier.
The idea that Joe Manchin says he can't explain this back home to his people is a farce. I mean, it's a farce in terms of, you know, plain democracy, because I represent more, or just as many or more people than Joe Manchin does, perhaps more.
That's pretty bold.
Yeah, it would have been nice if the person interviewing Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez could have asked, hey, that whole thing you said about, you know, looting not happening in cities around the country, what are you really saying when you said that? But of course, nothing's asked about that. It was just basically, you know, it was like watching a therapy session, that interview. But now it appears the most powerful Joes in the country, Bill, are in this order, okay? For you, Joe Burrow, then Joe Jonas, then Joe Piscopo, all right? And let's see, let's go with Joe Pesci, then Joe Biden, Joe Rogan, and then Joe Manchin. That's where we're at this point. So this unofficially, though, to AOC's point.
The easy retort on that AOC comment is that, but the people in his state went for a president who lost by 40 points. That's who he's representing, Joe.
Yeah, not the people of New York who AOC represents. But she is right. I think, though, Rubin is right in this sense. This unofficially marks the end of the Biden presidency. I don't think I'm using hyperbole there, because Nancy Pelosi is going to be retired as House Speaker. GOP only has to flip 5 seats. They flipped 63 under President Obama in his first term. There's a good chance the Senate, you only need 1 net seat to Republicans there. That goes back to the GOP. And Mr. Biden's own party, and we're already seeing it, and you talked about it, will revolt on him and seek to replace him as the party's nominee if an 80-something version of this man even runs. 2022 is going to be ugly, guys, because now it's getting personal.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe. Democracy dies in Wheeling.
Great to see you.
Is there. Nice to see you.